the installation in the lab. Try to deactivate it so we can examine it properly. Listen, the prototype can't protect you from the strong emission forever. I provided for this. When you get hit by a strong field, the timer will start ticking. As soon as the time runs out, the prototype will stop protecting you. So take care, and remember about the timer.
Yeah, timer. Got it. Snork will be spawning here pretty soon. So I just cut out the travel time and waiting for the emission to finish. Nothing exciting. Also sold all of my food supplies that were not bread or ham sandwiches. Since I noticed I had something ridiculous like 42, now 44 bread and a bunch of ham sandwiches. Kept these because they heal you, which makes them perfect for when you have to use anti-rad. No Snork? No Snork spawn behind? What is this shit? Yeah, that... Don't think I had the chance to show that off yet, but this update has re-enabled the, whatever it is called, the PDA in underground areas. Never actually bothered to look up and see this half of the guy trapped in the elevator. Bit gruesome, I have to say. So I'm curious as to what this engine does with regards to rendering, because I did go and look at the textures, the vanilla textures at least. You know, stored in the unpacked database files. And they look really high quality. They look considerably better than they ever look in-game, even with the maximum texture and whatnot settings. Which leads me to believe that the discrepancy is caused simply by something in the rendering pipeline, just the way it renders. Or maybe it's just how the textures are displayed when on relatively low polygon models. I mean, you gotta admit, the polygon count on a lot of the models in Shadow of Chernobyl, at least, not that great. Understandable, considering a lot of the game was built in the early 2000s, long before release. I'll give that a 4. Nice jump, nice landing, but you died. Strange, however. I remember there being EAX reverb effects applied to this level, and I am not hearing them. Man, having this anti-radon certainly makes going through here a lot easier. I think last time I ran through this lab... Yeah, last time I ran through this lab, it was on 1099-34. And I had to spawn in the center of it because Yantar was one of the levels that crashed. Stupid rat. I'm gonna loot the rat. Mainly because sometimes the rat bodies, when being looted, cause crash to desktop. Certainly something I'd like to avoid, when at all possible. And I seem to still be forgetting that your weapon is deselected when you open the inventory. Didn't really notice any effect or any entry in the modder script that would affect that. I'll have to take another look at that. I mean, I was able to shut off the stupid effect when you pick up an artifact, so logically there would be an option for disabling putting your weapon away when you open the inventory. But you can't exactly be sure. Oh yeah, and going through this area, all sorts of crazy when you spawn in from the spawn there. You know, the escape F2 tool. Mainly because you spawn in the very end of the lab. Stay down. You spawn in the end of the lab, and to get here you have to go backwards through it. And the spawn trigger for these guys does not happen until you get to this point, roughly. So you just walk... Interesting. That was not intentional. Didn't think I would, hit an explosive barrel there. Or whatever it was I hit. I'm certain I picked up an artifact, right? One of those had an artifact in it. Guess not. At least not one that's immediately noticeable. Can't knife it down, but you can destroy it by stepping on it. Hello. Speaking of unintentional, this probably fits the bill as well. A spinning light that does have a brightness effect applied to the model itself, but is not casting any light. Come on, there were more zombifieds around here, right? I have decent envy, and I keep forgetting to actually turn it on and use it. Man, this level is really gruesome if you actually stop to pay attention to the details. It's going on midnight, so I prefer to keep it that way. Ignore the details, just run through. It's a creepy place, let's leave it at that. Now, call it something that's never really left after childhood, but something very uncomfortable about gruesome things and ending up seeing them near nighttime. Especially with the darkness. Not the cool kind, voiced by Mike Patton, but the boring kind voiced by the lack of light. Makes me wonder, though, would it possibly work out to have the Darkness mod implemented in something like this? I would presume that even if it did get implemented, it'd be very awkward. Because that's kind of a big thing, and well, a lot of things modded into S.T.A.L.K.E.R end up being awkward when they're relatively simple, like a gun. If you've seen this series at all, I guarantee you've seen some really horribly animated custom weapons.
Attention. Critical emissions. Leave the area immediately.
And believe it or not, unless something has been changed from the last time I played this, played through this level.
Critical emissions. Leave the area immediately.
Whatever's been done to this level, assuming I'm just not misremembering how it was in vanilla, it's made it quite a bit easier. Because there seem to be more areas that you can just walk away from the countdown
Leave the area immediately.
using. Where are these guys? Well, let's just rush through, start pulling down levers.
Attention. Critical
Yeah, see, you just go over to this corner and
immediate critical
the
emissions.
major psi area
Area
disappears.
immediately.
Don't remember if vanilla was that forgiving or not,
Attention.
but I'm presuming no.
Critical emissions.
Because that kind of breaks the entire point of having to get psi helmets and having to rush through here.
Attention. Critical emissions. Leave the area.
I mean, all the tension's gone if you can really just back yourself up into a corner and you'd be, relatively speaking, safe from the entire reason you had to go through that whole mess with Kruglov,
Critical emissions. Leave the area immediately.
you know, to prepare for. It'd obviously be more of a bother if Yantar... Where did you come from? Because you were certainly not down there when I was. Yeah, it would certainly be more of a problem if Yantar was... Whoa, okay, let's run into one of those. If Yantar was closer to how it was in alpha builds, which is to say much bigger, with much more area to explore. And that's a leather jacket. How useful! Great loot, very appropriate for this deep into the game. I mean, come on, even the regular scientist suit. Yeah, hell, take the even out of that statement. The regular scientist suit would have been just fine there. Not like it's a really high-end suit or anything. Leave your loot alone, because I can't carry it. Okay, I need to either hurry up here or find myself another... Yep, convenient corner that is totally safe.
Area immediately. Attention. Critical emissions. Leave the area immediately.
Definitely liking the backflips that they do. Okay, there are more people here, I know that. Guess they're a bit further down this way. Unless they're the guys like that one dude that appeared in an area long after I finished it. Anyway, let's grab Ghost PDA and shut down the machine.
If this is so important, why didn't you explain what you're going there for? And where did you get this photo from?
If you only knew where I've just been and what I saw.
One day you'll finish badly, S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Hold on, son. You're going to make it. Where will you go now?
To the north.
So I've noticed something very recently about that particular cutscene that's a bit dodgy. In particular, you know, near the end, when Doctor starts looking at the photograph again. Well, when it cuts back to him looking at the photograph again. That scene is... Rather, that's part of the scene. It's reused. It's literal frame-by-frame reused footage from earlier when he was looking at the photograph and talking. Hell, you pay attention to his face, it's talking. It's doing the facial animation. Anyway, real pity about the cutscenes. They were made by a company named Plastic Wax, if I recall correctly. And they did a good job with them. I'm not denying that, but the problem is... I mean, the resolution of them is universally pretty low. I mean, even in clear sky, they were simply bumped up to 640 by 360, which is really not that great. And, I'm sure some employees may have a copy of, you know, a higher resolution version of it, but... Well, to get on with things a bit more, the thing that's pitiable about that... Okay, there's a way to break that open. The thing that's pitiable about that is I actually decided to go and look at the website for the company earlier today. Don't mind me just breaking the game. Slowing it down so much with the glass particle effects that the X-Story barely had time to drop down the frame rate display to what it would be reasonable for the situation. But yeah, I looked in the company's website, and there is absolutely no mention whatsoever of Stalker. I mean, they were contracted to do the cutscene work for 2 Stalker games. And they just flat out ignore it on their site. They seem to be pretending it never happened for some reason. They have everything else they've done. You know, cutscene work for Fallout New Vegas. They did the opening for that. A bunch of other games. They did cutscene work for them. They're all listed on the company's site, but, Stalker? Mysteriously absent. Okay, marked one, move. Quit being tired. And you, dwarf, stop being annoying. What the hell? How many grenades do I have to throw at this guy? I guess that many. Yeah, that just kind of irks me. Just gives the picture that company relations between the two is, for whatever reason, very, very poor. As well, frankly, I just don't see any other reason to basically pretend that 2 presumably decent-sized contracts never happened. All this being tied in with kind of wanting to see if the company would have had higher quality, higher resolution versions of the cutscenes available on their site portfolio. Certainly would have been a pretty cool thing to be able to run into. Particularly considering all the pre-rendered cutscenes that are present in the games are 512 by 288, 512 by 512, or in Clear Sky's case, 640 by 360. And, you know, you can tell that there's just a whole ton of detail in everything. Even at the low resolution, you can see a ton of detail, far beyond what you see in a lot of other things. For example, games like Alan Wake. Like, you see the pre-rendered cutscenes in Alan Wake, and it looks the same as, if not worse than, you know, actual gameplay footage. Depending on the scene and depending on the version of the game you're running, PC versus console. You see that, and then you compare it to this, where the pre-rendered cutscenes look absolutely amazing. I suppose that gets a bit more into, you know, how the gradual decline of pre-rendered cutscenes in modern-day gaming. Oh, god damn it. Have I meant... Dog, what the hell? Where's my gun? Where are my guns? Did I really lose my... No, I didn't lose it. It just wouldn't let me select it. Tell me again how the controller attack was able to hit me? There's no line of sight here. I suppose the positive here is it's gotten me off this long tangent about pre-rendered cutscenes and companies being disappointing and whatnot, and into kind of insanity and madness that happens all the time in the zone, yet remains, well, intense. Come on, you mangy bastard, die already. Something tells me I should make a note to move that line back a bit while editing. I didn't bother to actually say it until he was already dead. That's how things tend to work, though. The mind moves faster than everything else. Ah, looks like I'm gonna have to splice in his PDA recording again. Because I don't know, for some reason the mod decided that that should be disabled.
Where the hell are you, S.T.A.L.K.E.R? Damn. And Doc's gone, I could really do with her help right now. When I get back from the mission, I'm gonna find the guide at the perimeter. He goes there a lot. And he may help me find Doc. And if S.T.A.L.K.E.R's still alive, Doc will know for sure where to find him. Anyway, that's for later. And now I'm all alone. On this stinking underground mission. Vasiliev doesn't count. He's just a burden which I'll have to protect. Vasiliev lost it at the very last moment. And when the door opened, he ran off instead of deactivating the lower consoles. I shouldn't have relied on him. S.T.A.L.K.E.R was right to mistrust those lying dogs. My only chance is to get to the door before the controller. Vasiliev lost it at the very last moment, and when the door opened, he ran off instead of deactivating the lower consoles. I shouldn't have relied on him. S.T.A.L.K.E.R was right to mistrust those lying dogs. My only chance is to get to the door before the controller.
You thought of your interesting dialogue that explains the situation. Now this is Ghost Suit. This is what Sakharov wanted me to come in for. And well, the healing properties of it look really nice, I have to say. Definitely look really nice. Yeah, I'd have to say, if I didn't skid this suit very early on, I would definitely consider running around with this for a while, rather than giving it directly to Sakharov. Definitely the downside of giving you endgame level suits very early in the game, but at the same time, has it really helped? No. No, you're very quick to die no matter what. You know, you could be in a high-end exoskeleton with a ton of ultra-level artifacts and still die pretty much instantly, depending on who's attacking. Alright. The Last Day Clan. Right, that's something that will be coming up before too long. In terms of content. Alright, all of this is still in progress or something. Man. I don't know, it just seems... You've got to be kidding me. Really? Really? So if it was fully properly translated and I got something other than, you know, just the ID of each section, I could read Metro 2033 while playing Stalker. That's useful, but at the same time pointless. Whoa, what the hell happened to that screenshot there? Read those some other time when I feel like sitting down and reading. It's really interesting stuff, but I don't really feel like just sitting here after accomplishing all this. And, you know, just reading. What the hell is seeing me? What could possibly be seeing me down here? There's no A-life down there in that section of this level. And there's none here. Anyway, let's get to the escape tunnel. And
Get out of here, Stalker.